The Mystara project is proud to present Part 16 of the Places of Mystara series. In this video we shall look at the Achelos Valley of Western Karamikos, which incorporates the Achelos River and the Achelos Woods. The Achelos River and Woods were introduced in 1987, as part of GAZ 1, the Grand Duchy of Karamikos. The GAZ 1 map showed the western Achelos Woods as distinct from the eastern River Fork Woods, however the text advised the names were interchangeable. Subsequent publications explained both tracts of woods are considered the Achelos Woods by the Traladarans and the River Fork Woods by the Thyacians. The Traladarans distinguish between the two tracts by referring to the near Achelos Woods in the east, and the far Achelos Woods in the west. For the purposes of this series, we will use the GAZ 1 map labels, so the eastern tract will be referred to as the River Fork Woods, and will be covered in its own future video. The source of the Achelos River lies in the basalt-rich Black Peak Mountains, at an altitude of about 4,000 feet. It then cascades down to the forested hills of the Kruth lowlands, with much white foam from its stony rapids. It is then joined by its tributaries, the Gustos and Magos rivers, before slowing in the flatter forested lands, bisecting the Achelos and River Fork Woods. Finally it slows markedly through the Blight Swamp before emptying into the northeastern coast of the Gulf of Halag. Like the rest of southeast Brune, this region was under ice sheets until around 2500 BC. Lizard men may have migrated north to what is now Blight Swamp, once the ice receded. Tamarans predominantly settled the old coastline, which is now around the southern Earendi and Minrothadan Islands. A few Tamaran farmers occupied what is now southern Karamikos. So the occasional Tamaran may have interacted with the Achelos Valley. After BC 2000, Makai tribes settled lands to the south and southwest. The Makai founded two stilt hut villages on the Achelos River in Blight Swamp. In BC 1690, Trudel elves arrived in the forested deepland to the west. It is possible over the best part of the next 7 centuries, that some of these elves may have ventured to the Achelos Woods. In BC 1500, the Nithian-led Tralda colonized what is now Karamikos. Settlements mainly formed around the central rivers far to the east of the Achelos Valley. In BC 1400, the struggling Tralda were absorbed into the Hutakan Empire. Sometime during the next 4 centuries, it is likely that the Achelos region was settled and named by the Tralda. Tralda tombs in the moors upon the hills overlooking the Everwake Valley, northeast of Wereskalot, date from this period. Around BC 1000 a great horde of gnolls swept down from the Kruth Mountains, overrunning Tralda and Hutakan settlements for most of the lands west of the central rivers. It is possible that some Tralda may have survived by hiding in the Achelos Woods, but the majority were decimated. The gnolls were eventually defeated, but the Achelos region would have been largely depopulated. During the ensuing Tralda Dark Age, small settlements and outlaws would probably have come to the Achelos region. Some looked to the rich lands to the west to raid the Hin, orcs, and for a few decades, dwarfs there. Sometime after AC 0, ogres migrated to the Kruth lowlands, making settlement in the region unfeasible. Sometime between AC 10 and AC 490, a small elven clan, possibly the Linden Elms, were expelled by the Kalarii to the Achelos Woods. Sometime between AC 200 and AC 401, a druid led the elk, Ceridus, into a place of tranquility and natural beauty in the Achelos Woods, and performed the ritual to transform Ceridus into an Acteon. Sometime between AC 401 and AC 499, the Acteon, Ceridus, saved the elven ruler, Saldis, from an ambush in the Achelos Woods. In gratitude, Saldis planted a tree in the woods, which he dedicated to the woodland folk there. Sometime between AC 401 and AC 871, Carver Lindenelm was born in the Achelos Woods. In AC 900, a Thyacian expedition led by Colonel Rosentos set out from Specularum to survey Blight Swamp. The expedition built 40 rafts to traverse the swamp along the Achelos River. Eventually they came to a Makai-descended stilt village ruled by Chief Kelshet. Warned of great evil by the Thyacian seer Kerid Bey, Rosentos' men secretly left during a fog. They came to a second stilt village about 6 miles further upstream. A missile fire skirmish ensued, until a parley cleared up mistaken identity. Prompted by the village's tales of great wealth in a stone house to the north, Rosentos led his men to a small island to the north, at the edge of the swamp. Rosentos and the shore party were then slaughtered by the vampire Kelshet and his minions. Rosentos arose 3 days later as Kelshet's vampire pawn. Only 5 raft guards made it back alive, after fleeing when attacked. Sometime between AC 939 and AC 965, the adventurers Rogan the Fearless and Zeligar the Unknown decide to construct a stronghold they call Quasqueton, into the side of a hill overlooking the Achelos Valley, near the Black Peaks. Sometime between AC 951 and AC 975, after more than a decade, construction of Quasqueton was completed. Rogan and Zeligar moved in, and over the next few years, went on some adventures. Sometime between AC 961 and AC 980, Rogan and Zeligar suddenly made an appearance to defeat a humanoid invasion of the Achelos River Valley. Itcha, the humanoid chieftain of the White Bear clan, was slain. The local people of the valley richly rewarded the heroes. Most of the reward was spent expanding Quasqueton. After the founding of the Grand Duchy of Karamikos in AC 970, River Fork Keep was built sometime between AC 970 and AC 975. Sometime between AC 971 and AC 983, Rogan, Zeligar and the majority of their followers set off from Quasqueton, north to the Black Peaks, to campaign against the hated humanoids. In AC 989, the elf Sharel was born in Achelos Woods. Sometime between AC 991 and AC 995, Sharel was captured by lizard men of the Great Dragon Tribe and taken back to their den in the Blight Swamp. The Achelos Valley is a sparsely populated region. Perhaps the largest population would be found among the Tralda living in the upper valley near Quasqueton, which contains a small town. Adventurers are currently flocking to this town, based on the rumor that Rogan and Zeligar met their demise in the Black Peaks. These brave or foolhardy characters believe Quasqueton is ripe for exploring and plundering. We shall call this unnamed town Achelos. River Fork Keep garrisons the Fury in the West Battalion of 244 troops, from Thyacian, Traladeran and Karamican ancestries. Ogres dominate the Kruth lowlands. The small Lindenelm Elven clan dominates the Achelos Woods. The Great Dragon Tribe of 34 lizard men inhabits Blight Swamp. They worship the small black dragon, Hakra. The Mackay descendants village in Blight Swamp has a population of 38. The Isle of Rosentos comprises the vampire himself, 15 charmed slaves, and a compound containing 26 K-men. For this video we shall concentrate on the characters of the Achelos Woods. Dathrin Silverthrush is a druid who is responsible for caring for most of the Achelos Woods. He has a pet grizzly bear called Grubble. Dathrin's main challenge comes from the troops and agents of the Black Eagle Barony, who sometimes travel through the woods to cause trouble in the 5 Shires. Outlaws also occasionally cause trouble in the woods. Dathrin also has to deal with adventurers, who are seeking wood from the Tree of Saldis. Dathrin is on good terms with the Lindenelm elves. His mentor told him about the Actaeon, Ceridus saving Saldis, but Ceridus lives in an old growth section of the woods that Dathrin is not responsible for, so he has never seen Ceridus. Ceridus, the Actaeon, rarely ventures outside the old growth section of the woods. He has a pet grizzly bear called Bergen, who is Grubble's cousin. Brothers Fura Men and Bolten are foresters and rare human occupants of the woods. They speak in the breathy accent common to the Achelos region. They are adventurers, rarely spending time in the Achelos Woods anymore. Travel in the Achelos region is challenging. The river is only navigable from the Achelos Woods to the Gulf of Halag. Negotiating the rocks and rapids as the river passes through the Kruth lowlands requires a high level of rafting skill and local experience. Dangerous creatures further challenge travel, like the ogres of the Kruth lowlands and crocodiles. Lizard men, strangleweeds, and hydri in Blight Swamp. The Fury in the West Battalion patrols as far as 18 miles from the keep, but they stick to the trail in the woods and do not enter Blight Swamp. Black Eagle and Iron Ring operatives also make travel dangerous in the southern part of the valley. A campaign based in the Achelos River Valley could commence in the town of Achelos, leading to the introductory adventure, B1 in Search of the Unknown. After looting Quasqueton, The adventurers decide to find out what happened to Rogan and Zeligar in the Black Peaks. They could also be required to deal with the ogres, who menace the town from their Cruth Lowlands lairs. In a military campaign, the characters could start off posted to the Fury in the West Battalion, undertaking dangerous patrols around Riverfork Keep. Or they could start outside the valley, eventually drawn to it by a treasure map depicting Blight Swamp and Luln, which also contains the veteran's tale of Colonel Rosentos' mission, outlined in the mini-module, AC2, Treasure of the Hideous One. On the 17th of Caldmont AC 1010, the 5 Shires formally declare war on the Black Eagle Baron. A large force of Hin light skirmishes crosses the border into the Achelos Woods, whilst the main Shire's army boarded Hin pirate vessels. The characters could be involved in the skirmish war in the woods between the Hin and the Black Eagle troops. Following the defeat of the Black Eagle Baron, on the 24th of Yarthmont AC 1011, King Stefan Karamikos creates the estate of Achelos, that includes both woodland tracts on either side of the Achelos River. The estate is awarded to Alfheim refugees to settle. This could lead to friction with the Linden Elms. The elven refugees may need assistance in clearing the woods of undesirable creatures. By the 25th of Caldmont AC 1011, a band of young elves in the estate of Achelos begin to call themselves the Alfheim Avengers. Their goal is to reclaim the Canolbarth forest from the Shadow Elves. For now they scheme, watched by older and wiser kin, who are working on a less risky way of reclaiming Alfheim. The characters may side with the Avengers, and start performing spying missions on the Shadow Elves. Or, they may oppose them, trying to prevent them from jeopardizing more conventional elven policies. Against his advisors' warnings, King Stefan Karamikos spends the 4th to the 10th of Felmont AC 1013 in the estate of Achelos, to gauge the elven refugees' conditions. This visit forms part of the royal tour of his kingdom. This concludes our look at the Achelos Valley, which incorporates the Achelos River and the Achelos Woods.